What is going on, Hive Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 biggest myths that are associated with intermittent fasting. Some of these myths might be good, some of them might be bad, but either way, I'm going to go ahead and tackle the top 5 that I've seen circulating throughout the internet. Stay tuned. Okay, quickly before I start, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watched my last video, my video essay that I did on intermittent fasting and OMAD. It's so nerve-wracking when it comes to YouTube to create a new piece of content or a new style. You never know how people are going to receive them. My vlogs, what? Yeah, so you never know how people are going to receive them. So it's always very humbling and makes you and it re-energizes your passion for video and editing and doing all these different things that have to be done, you know, to push the message of intermittent fasting. So I'm so thankful. It was the fastest video that I've ever done to get to 25,000 views. It was the fastest video to reach 1,000 likes. It was the most shared video I've ever made. I'm just humbled by you guys' response, and thank you so much. If you haven't seen it, I put so much heart and soul into this video, so much research, so much. I wrote my own script. I did everything for it, the editing. It took a lot of work to put these together, but you guys have validated that you like that type of content. So of course, if they're very hard to make, but I will definitely be researching, building for a new video essay so that I can put out video essays every once in a while. Thank you so much, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Now let's go ahead and jump right into this video. Starvation mode. This is the most ridiculous intermittent fasting myth that I have heard. I made it the #1 thing because I wanted to jump right into that ridiculous notion that you go into starvation mode. The thing is, starvation mode is something that exists. Starvation mode is a real thing, but it is actually a massive hyperbole when being used with intermittent fasting. And the problem is that hyperbole starts to get misconstrued and people just start to think, hey, I'm going into starvation mode because I'm doing intermittent fasting. You don't go into starvation mode simply because you skip a meal or two. You don't go into starvation mode even if you did intermittent fasting for a full day or two. You wouldn't go into starvation mode even if you fast for 2 or 3 days. It takes a very low body fat percentage and a very low calorie intake for you to go into a starvation mode. Starvation mode is not something that is just like ready to hit you the moment you're not eating and you feel hungry. That is not the case. So if you do intermittent fasting, you will never be able to get into a starvation mode. And that is the truth. You can talk to any medical doctor, anybody with any credentials. They will tell you that for you to be into a starvation mode, there are certain elements that have to take place. And low body fat percentage is one of them, as well as low caloric intake over an extended period of time. So no, intermittent fasting will not put you even close to a starvation mode. Now let's go ahead and move on to #2. Here's another big thing, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, is you can eat whatever you want because you're doing intermittent fasting. It depends on what you're trying to portray when you say you can eat whatever you want, because a lot of people only care about fat loss. A lot of people only razor focus on that and then neglect everything else. You will still be malnourished if you don't have a good balanced meal. If you're not trying to get all your nutrients in and you're not doing all of that stuff, it will still affect you. You can still be sick. You can still affect yourself negatively biologically even though you're fasting. Fasting does provide health benefits, but your body still needs nutrition. So if you're doing an unbalanced diet, you're still going to suffer from that, regardless if you're doing intermittent fasting or not. So yes, it does matter what you eat, and yes, you still want to eat somewhat healthy. Can you have cake or snacks or junk foods every now and then? Yes, like anything else, you can do that, but still, you should try to focus on eating as healthy as you can, because it will still affect your body health-wise, regardless if you're doing intermittent fasting or not. Now let's go ahead and jump into #3. And this is another one that I see a lot on the internet, that intermittent fasting will slow down your metabolism. Now, metabolism is dictated by calorie intake. It's not dictated by the fact that you're eating and not eating. Refraining from eating is not going to affect your calorie intake. Now, how much you eat when you actually do start eating, that's the thing that's going to determine if your metabolic rate decreases, your basal metabolic rate, or increases or stays the same, or what have you. If you're trying to lose weight, however, you have to be at a caloric deficit anyways. So if you do intermittent fasting, or if you don't do intermittent fasting, it doesn't matter, because what you want to do is be at a caloric deficit. Now, if you're at a caloric deficit for too long, yeah, your basal metabolic rate might go down because your body is adjusting to the amount of calories that you're providing your body. But that has nothing to do with intermittent fasting in and of itself. You can do intermittent fasting while eating your caloric maintenance. You can do intermittent fasting while increasing your maintenance to a caloric surplus. If you do intermittent fasting in a caloric surplus, your basal metabolic rate will increase. Now, if you find it hard to eat a certain amount of calories within your eating window, that's a different story. That has to come from training or expanding your eating window to a comfortable number for you so that you can eat all of the calories that you're looking for. But intermittent fasting and basal metabolic rate decretion, there isn't a correlation between the two. The decrease comes from the reduction in your calorie intake, and unfortunately, to lose weight, you have to reduce your calories. And with that, we'll segue right into number 4. Calories don't matter. Now, this is a big one that a lot of people in the intermittent fasting community like to use. And I guarantee you that they will put their anecdotal evidence on the comment section to prove that this is the case. They'll say that they eat whatever they want, they don't count it, and they lose weight with intermittent fasting. And that's fantastic, that's great. However, there may be some emerging research in terms of thermodynamics being adjusted because of intermittent fasting. But for right now, for what we have available to us scientifically in terms of studies, not anecdotal evidence, we don't have anything concrete to say intermittent fasting allows you not to have to worry about calories, and even if you're at a caloric surplus, you're going to lose weight. We don't have anything that indicates that as of right now. There are some studies that are a little bit confusing to the scientific community, because there's like OMAD studies that show that even though it was isocaloric between randomized groups of people who did caloric maintenance and ate 3 meals a day versus people who did caloric maintenance with OMAD, and the 1 meal a day group actually lost weight, significant weight, and the 3 meal a day group did not lose weight. But those things are still up in the air. We need to still see more research that keeps continuing to back that up. What intermittent fasting does do is that it focuses on fat burning specifically. And the thing is, there's so many different things that contain calories in your body. It isn't just body fat. So although calories in versus calories out is a factor, I don't believe that it is more important factor than your hormone control in your body. And intermittent fasting positions your body hormonally in a position where it will burn more body fat and protect other parts of your body like muscle tissues and your organs and all of those different things, because it's so heavily focused on body fat burning. So while you might do 3 meals a day and have the same caloric intake as somebody who does 1 meal a day, that person who's doing 1 meal a day is utilizing body fat calories more than someone who's just doing 3 meals a day, because his body is primed and ready and prepared and situated to burn more body fat. So both groups will be burning the same amount of calories, but the group that's doing intermittent fasting is burning more calories from body fat than other groups, because your insulin is at baseline, and these are hormonal things that are helping you. But calories still do matter, because even if you're doing intermittent fasting and you're at a caloric surplus, then your body has nothing to burn because you are giving it more calories than it needs. So all it's going to do is send some glucose to your muscles, your organs, your brain, and then send the rest of it to your body fat storage, your body fat cells, to add to your body fat cells. So you still need a deficit there, but just know that with intermittent fasting, when you do have that deficit, you are tackling predominantly body fat. So I hope that cleared up some stuff for anybody who's thinking, you know, intermittent fasting may not matter, or thermodynamics doesn't matter. So far, it does. We need to have more research, but so far, calories still matter, but not as much as the hormonal control of your body, controlling things like insulin, controlling things like cortisol, controlling things like human growth hormone. Those things matter more than just the caloric deficit or caloric surplus. Now moving on to the final one, number 5. People believe that if you fast, you don't have energy because they believe that the only way you have energy is from outside sources, outside food energy. But you have to understand that your body stores that food energy that you've already eaten in the past. It's stored in your body, and how much of it is stored is based on how much body fat percentage you have on your body. So you can actually tap into the energy that you've stored in your body fat. Not only that, your body goes into a ketosis state, and then it utilizes ketones for energy instead of glucose from calories. The glucose provides energy for your body, but also ketones does that, and that's your body's secondary defense mechanism to the fact that you don't have glucose coming in. It starts to activate certain elements in your body that will allow you to have energy. Once you become fat adapted as well, your body will be comfortably energized when doing intermittent fasting. Of course, in the beginning, if you try it for one day and you're like, oh my God, I had no energy, I try to go to the gym, your body's not used to using ketones or trying to effectively use your body fat as energy. Your body is just starting to make that shift, and it's uncomfortable for your body. Your body doesn't want to do that shift because it's very comfortable with you consistently giving it food. But if you transition, and if you stay in that transition and you work through that and you do about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, your body will start to adjust. Your body will understand, wait a second, this is the scenario that I'm in, so I better get comfortable doing this. Then your body will effectively start to use body fat storage, start to switch over to ketones to energize you. And it is much more beneficial for you to use the energy of your body fat because it's nearly unlimited, as opposed to glucose, which can quickly be dispersed. That's why high endurance athletes that do long distance runnings or marathons try to become fat adapted. They actually try to become fat adapted because it's harder for them to hit that wall where they can't go any further when they're using body fat instead of glucose. Glucose is very limited. Body fat is nearly unlimited until obviously you get to a 0% body fat, but that is very, very hard to do. So no, intermittent fasting does not zap your energy when you go to the gym. It actually provides a more effective and efficient energy. So those were the top 5 intermittent fasting myths that I've seen circulating throughout the internet. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And of course, I'm going to put my patrons from my Patreon up on the screen. And of course, as always, guys, I'll see you on Sunday for another FAQ. Peace!